For millions of viewers, Happy Days represented comfort, family, and nostalgia. Set in an idealized version of 1950s America, the sitcom became one of the defining television shows of its era. Week after week, audiences tuned in to spend time with the Cunningham family, laugh at the antics of their friends, and watch the unforgettable rise of Arthur Fonzie Fonzarelli. Yet behind the scenes, the story of Happy Days was far more complicated than the cheerful image it projected on television. Creative disagreements, network decisions, scheduling conflicts, and unexpected controversies all shaped the show's legacy in ways most fans never realized. Perhaps the biggest surprise of all came at the very end. What should have been one of television's most satisfying farewells became a confusing chapter in TV history when ABC made a decision that many viewers felt undermined the series' finale. The move left fans wondering whether the ending they remembered was really the ending at all. The story of Happy Days is not just about a successful sitcom. It is a story about fame, loyalty, creative control, and the challenges of saying goodbye. When Happy Days premiered in 1974, nobody expected it to become one of the biggest hits on television. The show followed the everyday lives of the Cunningham family in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, during the 1950s and early 1960s. At its center was Richie Cunningham, played by Ron Howard, a young actor already known for his work on The Andy Griffith Show. The concept seemed simple. It focused on family values, teenage experiences, and small-town life. Viewers connected with the warmth and optimism that the show offered during a period when television was often exploring more serious themes. The cast quickly became familiar faces in American households. Marion Ross portrayed the caring and supportive Marion Cunningham. Tom Bosley brought wisdom and humor to the role of Howard Cunningham. Erin Moran played Rich's younger sister Joni, while Anson Williams and Don Most added memorable performances as Potsy and Ralph. However, the character who would ultimately transform the series was originally intended to play only a minor role. When Henry Winkler was cast as Arthur Fonzarelli, nobody anticipated the impact the character would have. Fonzie was introduced as a cool local greaser with a leather jacket, motorcycle, and a confidence that made him stand out immediately. At first, he appeared only occasionally. Yet audiences were drawn to him almost instantly. Fonzie represented a type of charisma rarely seen on television at the time. He was tough without being cruel, confident without being arrogant, and rebellious while still possessing a strong moral code. His trademark catchphrases and distinctive mannerisms quickly became part of popular culture. As the show's popularity grew, so did Fonzie's role. By the third season, many viewers were tuning in primarily to see him. Merchandise featuring the character sold in huge numbers, and Henry Winkler became one of television's biggest stars. The success created an unexpected challenge. As Fonzie's popularity exploded, ABC executives began looking for ways to capitalize on it. From a business perspective, the solution seemed obvious. If Fonzie had become the show's biggest attraction, why not make him the centerpiece of everything? At one point, network executives reportedly considered renaming Happy Days to reflect Fonzie's popularity. To the executives, the idea made perfect sense. To Ron Howard, it represented something much larger. Howard believed that Happy Days succeeded because it was an ensemble show. Richie Cunningham was not simply the lead character. He was the audience's connection to the world of the series. The show's appeal came from the relationships among all the characters, not from a single individual. When the proposal was discussed, Howard took a firm position. According to accounts from those involved, he made it clear that if the title were changed, he would leave the series. This was a bold stance for a young actor in his early 20s. Yet Howard felt strongly that changing the title would fundamentally alter the identity of the show. What happened next surprised many people. Henry Winkler supported Howard. Although the proposed change would have elevated Fonzie even further, Winkler believed that Happy Days worked because of its balance. He understood that the show's success depended on the entire cast and not solely on his character. With both actors standing together, the network eventually abandoned the idea. The title remained Happy Days, but the debate revealed a growing tension between creative priorities and corporate decision-making. It also marked an important turning point in Ron Howard's career, encouraging him to think more seriously about creative control and his future beyond acting. Long before he became one of television's most recognizable faces, Henry Winkler was struggling to establish himself as an actor. In the early 1970s, he arrived in Hollywood with limited financial resources and no guarantee of success. Years of work in theater had provided valuable experience but little stability. Like many aspiring performers, he faced rejection, uncertainty, and constant pressure. The audition for Happy Days represented another opportunity among many. There was little indication that the role would change his life. Ironically, the actor who would become famous for portraying supreme confidence was reportedly nervous and uncertain during the audition process. Yet something about Winkler's performance stood out. He brought depth and humanity to a character who could easily have been reduced to a stereotype. Rather than portraying Fonzie as merely a tough guy, Winkler infused him with vulnerability, loyalty, and unexpected warmth. The result was television magic. Success often brings opportunities, but it can also create new challenges. For Henry Winkler, becoming Fonzie was both a blessing and a burden. The character became so popular that audiences struggled to separate actor from role. Everywhere he went, people saw Fonzie rather than Henry Winkler. While this level of recognition made him a star, it also limited the kinds of opportunities available to him. When Happy Days ended, Winkler encountered a problem that many iconic performers face: typecasting. Casting directors often had difficulty imagining him as anyone other than Fonzie. Despite his talent and popularity, significant acting opportunities became harder to find. The transition proved emotionally difficult. After spending more than a decade playing one of television's most beloved characters, Winkler suddenly found himself searching for a new identity within the entertainment industry. Rather than giving up, he adapted. He expanded his work behind the camera, directing episodes of television shows and exploring new creative roles. Over time, he gradually rebuilt his career and demonstrated his versatility as a performer. Years later, his acclaimed role in Barry earned widespread praise and finally brought him another wave of recognition, including an Emmy Award. His journey became a powerful example of resilience and reinvention. By the early 1980s, Happy Days had enjoyed an extraordinary run. 11 seasons on television had transformed the series into a cultural institution. However, all successful shows eventually reach a point where they must conclude. As plans for the final season developed, the creative team focused on delivering a meaningful farewell. The goal was simple: provide audiences with the closure they deserved. Unfortunately, outside forces soon complicated those plans. In 1984, ABC secured exclusive coverage of the Winter Olympics in Sarajevo. The Olympics represented a major broadcasting event and promised significant ratings. Naturally, the network prioritized its coverage. The decision affected numerous television programs, including Happy Days. Several episodes scheduled to air during the final season were delayed because Olympic programming occupied valuable primetime slots. This created an unexpected challenge. As the season approached its conclusion, ABC faced a choice. The network could postpone the series finale until every remaining episode had aired, or it could proceed with the planned finale and deal with the delayed episodes later. ABC chose the second option. At the time, the decision may have seemed practical. In hindsight, it became one of the most controversial choices associated with the show's conclusion. On May 8, 1984, Happy Days aired its official series finale, titled Passages. The episode delivered exactly what fans hoped for. It celebrated the show's themes of family, friendship, growth, and change. Characters moved forward with their lives while honoring the relationships that had defined the series. The finale carried emotional weight because viewers understood that they were saying goodbye to people they had known for more than a decade. One particular moment stood above the rest. Creator Gary Marshall wanted the finale to include something unusual. He envisioned Howard Cunningham addressing viewers directly. At the time, breaking the fourth wall was uncommon in mainstream television sitcoms. Networks worried that such moments would disrupt the audience's immersion in the story. ABC executives reportedly expressed concerns about the idea. Marshall disagreed. He believed that after 11 seasons, the relationship between the audience and the Cunningham family had become personal. The viewers were not outsiders observing events. They had become part of the show's extended family. Eventually, the network approved the concept. The result became one of television's most memorable farewell moments. Tom Bosley turned toward the camera and thanked viewers for being part of the family. The gesture was simple, sincere, and deeply moving. Rather than pulling audiences out of the story, it brought them closer to it. Many viewers considered it the perfect ending. Unfortunately, the story was not actually over. After the finale aired, ABC still possessed several unaired episodes from earlier in the season. These episodes had been postponed because of Olympic coverage. Instead of leaving them unaired or presenting them as special broadcasts, the network decided to air them during the summer months. Beginning in June 1984, viewers suddenly saw new episodes of Happy Days appearing on television. For many fans, the experience was bewildering. The series had already ended. The characters had already said goodbye. The emotional farewell had already happened. Yet suddenly, everyone was back as though nothing had changed. Storylines continued. Characters interacted normally. Life appeared to move forward despite the fact that the audience had already witnessed the official conclusion. The problem was not the quality of the episodes themselves. The problem was timing. A series finale serves a special purpose. It provides closure. Viewers invest years in following characters and stories. In return, they expect a satisfying conclusion that signals the end of the journey.